Good morning. It is finally Friday, and you are with me, your host, Nisi, and I am host of this podcast, Vibe Talk Facing the Lion podcast. We are streaming everywhere that you listen to your favorite podcast. And we hope that you add plus one, that we will be your favorites. I want to wish my co host a well recovery as she's under the weather. Our very own Trish. Please get well soon. I want to talk about something today that may or may not challenge us. You be the decider of your emotions and your thoughts. That's what we're all about. February is a month of notoriety. 28 days in the month of February. And we are thinking of those who have left us something in which to live by. This is going to be deep, and if any of you are listening, please call in during our live interaction podcast. We're live. Our Vibe Talk Direct Connect anytime that you want to call in. It's 1-888-721-9260. I want to define what is meant by Black history. And I would like you all to think about what Black history means to you. Black history is a time dedicated to recognizing and celebrating achievements of Black people throughout history. The focus of it is sometimes overlooked, but oftentimes we must remember the impact on which it has had on us as a people, especially those of us that are of Black culture. We need to realize that this is the time to learn and appreciate what has been left for us. Thinking about, although there has been a not so good of a time, if you will, but during those times of these persons that we remember, they left us with something. And they left us with survival skills. They left us to remember that they didn't have it easy. They left us to remember that we will do better. Now, I want you to follow along as I talk to you about something that you are all aware of. As you know, Vibe Talk Facing the Lion podcast is all about feelings, emotions, and the experience that goes with it. This is where you can talk freely about your emotions. So let's do that. We all watched the Super Bowl. We all enjoy the Super Bowl. I like the commercials. I love to watch the plays between the players. I especially like a time where it brings connection to family and friends, and without argument we get together and we cheer on our favorite team. And we celebrate new commercials, or we talk about them and say, not so good. I can almost gather and know that you all had a favorite moment of our Super Bowl this past Sunday. And you were excited as you gathered together, wherever you were in that stream of time, looking back on that experience of the Super Bowl. And the next morning, which was Monday morning, the internet was filled with the halftime show. Do you all remember? Let me just say that so many, the internet was inundated, was filled with what happened in those halftime pictures that you all remember. When we think about Black history, is that part of our culture, or because we are no longer living in that time that we have short-term memory? And are we canceled because we didn't agree or disagree with what took place at the halftime show? I'm not going to say names, but I want you to recall the experience. Did you say, yeah, let's celebrate this? Yes, that's saying something. Or, yes, that will embark upon our appreciation of what Black history stands for. Now, people that we're celebrating are people that made or paved a way for us. And I always say, Martin Luther King had a speech. Did you all forget that speech? Most of you can remember the speech. Most of you can. We don't forget things that have made an impact. And that's why we get them out of history and we start to pave the way. You know, Martin Luther King Jr. had a dream. And his dream was to bring people together. We've seen that. We've seen it when the fires around and throughout Southern California happened. People came together. How quickly we forget. But I really want to talk about it, and I want to talk about it to people who are open-minded and less forgetful of what we had to overcome. Everyone knows that song, We Shall Overcome. But can I ask you, how do we overcome all the challenges that some of our parents' had to go through? Maybe some of our parents. How do we overcome that? You know, we disk each other in a form of society that you all call white society or rich society. We're disking each other. Correct me if I'm wrong. And we say we were just trying to pass a message. Have we really thought about it? As you say, we don't have enough days to celebrate Black history. To me, Black history is every day. Why is it every day that we celebrate these people who have been beaten, who have been sold off, whose land has been taken, and who have stood in the cold, in the sweat of their brow to pick cotton? You know, because there's a thing such as mind slavery. Have we really gone back to that? You know, because we all have said it doesn't go away. And you're right. It permeates through the air. And we are consumed with the effects of it being in our airways. Because our mind celebrates. Notice I said our minds celebrate the thought of, again, dissing someone. We bring that in very inappropriate times. And we all jump on the bandwagon without thinking, hey, this is Black History Month. We don't think that people agree with us. We don't think that they're not like us. Why are they not like us? I want you to think about that. They're not like us. Well, is the Super Bowl a place where we're now going to do this? We're going to show them what we're made of. Them and they. Notice I say that. We show them what we're made of by saying the N-word, by threatening in a song. Oh yeah, I did look up the lyrics. But now I want to remind you, you listeners, that we are in Black History Month. If we celebrate the occasion to rise above the slavery situation, to rise above a time that we didn't have freedom, and no to the person who says that we chose slavery. Absolutely incorrect. But then you have to consider all sources. Now, I'm not going to name drop because it would take away from the message that I am conveying. Last night I did an experiment with my young black adult son because I wanted him to understand the impact that words have on people. Yes, he was one of those that said, yes, it was a message, Mom. Yes, Mom. It was a statement, Mom. So I began the experiment. And after that experiment was done, he was very upset. So I asked him, why are you upset? He said, Mom, because you're saying things that's making me angry. If you are on the internet long enough, you'd understand that halftime show, everybody didn't agree with it in one way or another. I saw people portraying what is supposed to be a time of celebration and mocking us like we are some gorilla monkeys. There, I've said it. How can we get upset when we have society making fun of us? And then we want them to honor Black history. They've always sang our hymns. They've always danced to our music. They've always copied us. And they've also taken away the things that have been accomplished and the things that people from Black history has made and brought to life. And they've taken it and accredited themselves with something that the Black history person has done. I don't know how many of you are getting this, but what disturbed me the most is that everybody jumped on board to this halftime show. And some of us very famously portrayed characters. And then we'll have to answer for it later. And the reason why we'll have to answer for it later is because you forget who has made you your money. We must think before we leap. Come a little closer. I said we must think before we leap. Making a statement. My son posed a question last night as to one of the things that took place during that halftime show. And he said, Mom, if that was done way back, Or if this person could do it, why can't that person do it? Why is it a not so good? Why are you challenging that? Because that person did it, and we all danced, and I'm referring to last year's Super Bowl halftime. You see, it didn't mean what it means today. I saw older people, in fact, too old to be mocking us as if we are some meaningless people, as if we are ignorant, we don't know better. Mocking us. Do you really think they wanted to do that dance? And many of them mocked us, or what stands to be for the culture of black people, and put us all in that pool and said, I don't even understand the words. Well, if you did what I did, because I researched it, which is why I'm bringing it as a challenge today, but you bobbed your head to it. Many of you said you cut off the TV, but yet slavery permeates in the air. And we have the mindset to give the people what they want. When we know full and well what our forefathers had to do, lands being sold from under them, black people have had to suffer. We get that. The white slaves taking the hard-working black man's wives and producing offsprings, for lack of a better word. But what's the difference? We today do that. Take other people's wives or husbands and start new families. And so we have what? We have a mixture, and I like mixtures of things. I love things that are mixed. I love M&Ms. That's a mixture of candy. I like all varieties, so I'm not here to talk about racism. What I'm here to talk about is freeing your mind from enslavement. On that platform, the statement ran out loud and clear to me. If you want to see a change, you must be a change. I will never understand somebody that has had a terrible tragedy happen in their family, and they are glorifying the fact that they represent a city, and so they dance to it. Doesn't matter how much money you make. Doesn't matter if you're poor. It's the ignorance of our society that I'd like to cancel. Not the culture, because I am a black American woman. And I have two black young adult sons. So I believe this. If you need to say something, say it. And if you want to be heard, make sure the lyrics are audible. You all jumped on the bandwagon and you thought it was cute. You know, Soul Train brings about happiness because every color, every person loves the Soul Train line. Every person, every color loves the Soul Train line. You're probably going to have one at one of your parties this weekend. What Soul Train brought together was a unity of culture for every color, background, and people. Everybody watched it. My white friends watched it when I was little, because I used to watch it every Saturday. My brother was a regular Soul Train dancer, so I had to see my brother dance. The memory that's left for me, that I can go back and I can go to YouTube and I can find videos with him on them. And the memory that I have is a legacy of, boy, my brother really danced on what has changed our culture back then. We all love Soul Train. In the conversation with my young 26-year-old who thought, oh, that was really good. That was a message. If you're going to say something, make sure that everyone understands what it is. We're not some dancing monkeys. Aren't you guys tired of seeing that? And I'm talking to our black culture. Them calling us monkeys, gorillas, will never amount to anything. So what is the difference if I have said that and a Grammy-winning person is talking about not getting together, but pulling up and doing whatever he wants? Because they're not like us. Or they not like us. What is the symbolism of it? So we go and we call this art. We say this is art. And I appreciate any kind of art because I'm a life coach. I talk to people on a daily basis. People are very, very creative. We cannot deny that. But now, if you're going to have an art and you want us not to be canceled, as you will call it, bring your best. Because you all are not going to remember it because it was great. Especially when I saw the older generation, older than me, could be my grandparents, imitating it. And no, sir, they weren't of the black culture. Shouldn't that upset you? And yet our parents, our grandparents, their parents, were beaten to death. All because they were black. My son said to me, Mom, you're just racist. You're racist, Mom. How could that be against my own kind? If Uncle Sam could be a representation of something, why wasn't Uncle Tom invited? You get it? We are challenged by challenging ourselves. We need no reminders of a society that they're trying to cancel the black race. No. We get 28 days. The mindset of the people. 28 days they're going to give us. We will bring our best. Not the worst. Not the people making fun of us dancing as if we are monkeys in a circus. See, we should not want to be the people that join that circus. Nor should we be so ignorant to bring that to a national football game that people pay thousands of dollars for. I don't know who gets these people to perform. And I don't know if you guys know this. The halftime show, that was not rehearsal. Do you think for one moment, if that was brought to the football National Football League, that they would have let that play? Now, I don't know if this is true or not. And I want everybody to call in. I want everybody to weigh in. But rumor has it that was not rehearsed. That went live and uncut. Was it the smartest thing to do? Well, everybody was dancing to the music. Have we forgotten how far we've come? Must I remind you that Black history is a time for us to think about not being canceled, because we already know that that's in the air. That is why my young black sons and their young black sons and your black sons are profiled. My 26-year-old lives in my home, and I tell him to get his behind. Black behind is what I tell him in my house at 12 a.m., not a moment later. Am I saying it because I don't want him to have freedom? I'm trying to cancel him? No. I'm saying it because I want his life to be spared, and he's got no business being out there driving alone from place to place. You want to know more about that conversation that was had, don't you? I was trying to cancel the ignorance. And many parents know exactly what I'm talking about. Why, Mom? Why do I have to come in? Why, Mom? Why do you always question everything, Mom? Well, guess what? I want him to live long. And his son that's coming up, I want him to live long. we think we're saying something. If we want to say something, say it where people can understand you. Don't bring it to a platform where people aren't paying attention to us anyway. People miss the point. But did we make it any better for them? Stop riding along and jumping along on the all right or nothing bus. And yet you will say, Black Lives Matter? Yes, as a black person, you're right. And with that, all lives matter. But if you're going to bring something to the table, I don't care if you've got an Emmy, Grammy, whatever it is that you've got out there. They call it an EGOT. I call it an I got. I got sense. Stop doing things that make us look foolish. And we say as a culture, we'll accept that because that is saying something. Were you not mad when people said, I didn't even understand? I had friends who said, I didn't even understand. He started out with the bop. What does that mean? You said that was a representation of, quote, America. Everybody doesn't feel the way this artist felt. But we do it to ourselves, ladies and gentlemen, speaking to everyone. Stop doing it to yourself and then get mad because now they're going to make fun of us. That's nothing new. But what are we doing? Are you canceling yourself? What has worked so hard? Fathers have been dragged from their homes. Their lands have been burned down. And we think it's funny? How we're bopping our heads to a message that incites far cry from unity? This is my platform. And I'm going to say what I have to say. Because I know that people listen. Let's challenge ourselves to do better. Let's challenge ourselves to want better. Stop the ignorance and calling it art. We've screamed, we've went to the top of the mountain, and we've said we will overcome. Well, I want to ask you, have you overcome? If you want to say something, there are different ways of saying it. They're going to make fun of us anyway. By you making a song, they're not like us. Who are we talking to? Yeah, they may have been bopping their heads, but guess what? If you looked a little further, they were making fun of us. I saw old people doing that dance that was presented as art at the halftime show. I saw celebrities that were not of our color, the black race, doing that dance, mocking us. Do you think it was funny when they mocked Emmett Till? Do you know who Emmett Till was? I asked my son that. Do you think it was fair for them to do what they did and it was all a lie? Why am I saying this? Because I just read to you that we celebrate the achievements of where we have been versus where we are now. And you say, it's still here. Well, don't lend a hand to it. Don't lend a step to it. And don't say, we're black and we're finally getting a message across. I had mad respect for the actor who portrayed Uncle Sam. And you can say what you want to say. You had to do all that in a halftime show. Why didn't you pull it at the Grammys? I am so disheartened that we choose not to remember the enslavement of physical beings. Some of those people that were out there picking cotton were grandfathers. They didn't care. It had no name on it. Tired. But they were tired enough to have done something about it. Do you know about the gentleman who put himself in a box to get out of slavery? See, we should be rapping about songs like that, not about dissing other black folks or anybody and say that, oh, that's entertainment. Anybody. Now we've got a platform, and so now we're going to do it. And you know who I fault? Whoever's responsible for putting these shows together. Oh, because he's got an EGOT. He doesn't have to perform because he's already got a Grammy. I know he doesn't have an EGOT, so don't call me with that. So because he's sharing his art, let's stop doing this. Why is it that every time we do something, it's got to be extreme? If you really want to say something, say something. Rap about these men being in prison. And you know what the population is. Rap about that. We diss each other in songs. Teach these children how to come together. Because there was a time, and I told my little grandson at 5 years old that maybe black children wouldn't have been able to go to school with white kids. They won't tell you that. Educate your children about black history. That is not a representation of black history, what we saw in that halftime show. These are people that call themselves artists. These are people that have went to Wimbledon and won in their matches. Those are victories. Okay? We get it. You are the example. You are the example. And they're not going to remember anything of what you said because nobody understood it. The lyrics. You know what they're going to remember? What you did. These are your role models that represent, as you saw, what is to be our state. See, it's not the physical state that I'm worried about, it's the state of mind. What state of mind are you in? How much closer are we from Sunday's halftime show? And everybody got the message. And now we're all on one accord. And if we're talking about they're not like us, why is Drake even the matter? I've said it. We need to cancel ignorance of the mind. We need to lose in our vocabulary ignorance begets ignorance. You see, because now I get it. The people back in slavery time, they didn't have the sources that you and I have today. They didn't have the power of the computer, the power of transportation, the power of being able to ask Google things that they didn't understand. And for all you who make fun of us or make fun of what is representative of the black culture, look it up in the dictionary, the lyrics, like I did. Stop asking what they say. Because we all know, if you guys want to know something, you ask Google, Alexa, or Siri. You've got a computer in your hand, and you got to ask, what did the lyrics say? But you jumped on the board, on the boat, car, whatever means of transportation you jumped on. I'm going to get on this no matter where it takes me. Let's cancel the ignorance. I didn't think it was funny that we had grandpas. What did they say? And upset. And turning off the TV. What you need to say is, you know what? We need to do better than this. If you say you're an artful person, and I know I'm expected to be somewhere, I'm going to bring my best, not my worst. Because some of you said that was the worst halftime show. And you made fun of it. And those are the people that are not for our black society. They've been long trying to cancel us. Anytime they're stuck on Martin Luther King, and we know Martin Luther King and Rosa Parks, all of those people did great things. But let's rise above the occasion. Let's get some more people in there. At 5 years old, I was able to tell my 5-year-old son, our grandson, hey, there was a time where you couldn't go to certain school. And I explained to him about the little girl whose mother, by the way, had the mindset that she was going to go to school anyway. Those are the people that we should be rapping about, not 20 or 30 minutes of fame to say something that nobody understood unless they looked it up in a dictionary. I challenge you. The people that were there making fun of what was supposed to be represented as Black America. Our mindsets are still in slavery. It's in the air. We wear it every day. Stop this. Let's challenge ourselves to be better. Because I don't believe for one moment there are parents out there that are coming on board to something that may or may not represent us. I'm a mom. And I know that some mothers may have felt different. That is why I did the experiment with my son, because I saw the anger in him. I said, why are you mad at me? They're calling you that every day. He's missing the purpose. You jump out here, you get on the bandwagon because you say, he's a Grammy, he won a Grammy. It's the mindset. And if we don't better our minds to do something better than what we're doing, wow. I have a platform, and nobody can take away what I'm saying. Let's do better. Let's build a list of people that have really sent positive messages. How can the message be positive, but yet they're bringing someone down and they have the pitch to bring that person down because that person is that person? So how could it be positive, but at the same time bringing another black person down? Let's stop this. Don't you see? As I explained to my son, there were people who didn't understand, so it went over their head. So you mean to tell me that every black person understood? I'm black. I didn't understand it. I had to do some research before I could even talk about it. And we call that entertainment. It was messy. And the influence of the messiness just kept growing. Someone that is a world-renowned tennis player even jumped on it, not realizing, wow, let me tell you something else. My nephew was murdered. Gang affiliated. Do you think that I'm going to go around and portray that and start doing that dance as a get back? No. I'm going to stay far away from it because it was something that took him from me. Why are we glorifying these things? I am sure that there are parents out there that have sat down just like me and talked to our black sons and daughters and said, you are free. Fly, butterfly. Fly. Fly your wings as high as you can. Every day I have said that to my young black sons, to my young black nieces and nephews. If that was a message, then I am sure that this will be a message. Because you know what? Slavery of the mind is very powerful. And some of you don't even recognize. You're not out of slavery because you keep enslaving yourself to music. That is, on one hand, saying one thing, and on the other hand, doing another thing. So this was clearly an opportunity to embarrass someone of the same culture. Clearly. It had nothing to do with entertainment. And you all jumped on it. And you say, Black Lives Matters. Yes, every life matters. And if your Black life matters, then I suggest that you think about what is happening to the minds of our young people. Are you trying to cancel your Black culture? Our Black culture? My Black culture? Because I ask my young son not to. To remember, you no longer have to enter into the back doors. You walk through the front door. You no longer have to be beaten just because of the color of your skin. You no longer have to do something extra to be great. You are great. You are awesome. Now do something about it. Expectations of something better. Can you be that for yourself? Today, my greatest thing that I'd like you all to do is share this message. Black culture is not going to be canceled, but I ask that it get better. We don't simply just challenge ourselves to accept whatever comes along. Our forefathers are long gone, and they have left for us a way to break the cycle of slavery. We may not physically be going through it, but our mindset can be that of. Break that cycle. You say you want freedom, free yourself, free your mind, free your soul. Challenge yourself. Because some of us are just simply entertainment and nothing more. Is that all you want to be? Or do you want to be something more? Stand up. Because if we keep accepting this as, oh, they're saying something, let's be clear on it. And even if you didn't rehearse, you knew why. You knew why. Because had you rehearsed it, you might have had it on the scoreboard so that everybody could sing along with it. Listen to lyrics, folks. The beat of the song, oh, I like that. The lyrics of the song, isn't it funny that, or is it, back in the day, slavery time, when they were calling our black men the N-words, and boy, Now we're challenging each other of the same race. How ridiculous is that? I challenge each and every one of you to think about what is pure entertainment. There are people still fighting for civil rights, not just the blacks. How do we overcome it? By our mindset. Face your challenges. Do you think the artist is going to get a chance to do that again? They make fun of us, guys. We've got to do better. If anybody says that was great entertainment, is that all you're going to be? Is great entertainment? Because you won't get a chance to do that again. So you took your one shot, and that's what you'll be remembered for. And you'll be canceled 10 years from now. They probably won't even remember your name. I want to thank each and every one of you for tuning in to Vibe Talk Facing the Lion podcast. We are here, and I want you please to share this. Sit down with your sons and daughters, because some of you know exactly what I'm talking about. I'm not an Uncle Tom or an Auntie Tommy. My name is Nisi, and I'm spitting out real truth. And if you can't handle the truth, this is not the channel for you. This is not the podcast for you. But I'm bringing it to you straight, because I don't forget about Black history. And this morning, when my young person woke up, I let him know, if it hurt him, I am sorry. I apologize to him. But how much does he know what has hurt me when it comes to somebody making fun of my black sons? Don't hand it to him, people. Your mind is a terrible thing to waste. Let's do better. Let's do better. We can do this. We've seen people come across Southern California, all over the state, to help those people whose homes burned down. We can do this again, people. I think it's a sad thing when I see my black culture tear down their own kind. If we want to say something, there's positive ways to say it. I think it's a lesson for us to learn. I think it begets us to think, behooves us, I should say, to think more clearly before we jump on the bandwagon. After all, wasn't it just something between the two people that turned up in a song that we love that. We love to hear us battling with one another. Do you remember the night of the Oscars? What was that? 2 years ago? And what happened? And we all watched in disbelief and how we felt about it. Is that what we're doing now? Because if you want to be honest, we're canceling our own. Because we go to these things that nobody could go to. Let Aretha, Gladys Knight, Smokey Robinson, all the old timers. Let them tell you about it. Because I love hearing how they couldn't get into these things. They were entertaining because they loved it, not to get 5 minutes of fame. And this is what we're doing? Canceling our own culture? Don't cancel the culture. We are part of Black history, and that is it. Leave something worthwhile that your sons and daughters and their sons and daughters will always remember, not the negative. Anybody who jumped in that and knew, hey, wait a minute, this ain't cool, or this isn't cool. We just saw it as entertainment. So you know what? The white culture looked on and said, here they go again. They're not like us. Quote, end quote. I thank every one of you for spending time with me this morning. Black history. Don't cancel the culture. Have a great weekend. Be safe. Take care of one another. And learn to challenge yourself to do your best. Thank you guys. Have a great weekend.